Good morning. I wanted to talk today about the way your brain works because I've spent my whole life trying to work out my own brain because it really was malfunctioning when I was younger, and now it's working better. I wanted to talk about rabbit holes, really, because I found that to be one of the most useful ways of thinking about what was actually going on in my head, and realizing that there is so much momentum when you start thinking certain thoughts that you literally create rabbit holes inside your brain. I'm not talking biologically. I have no idea how it works biologically, but I'm talking about the way your thoughts function one after another, and they start to race in a way once they really get momentum, and you start to become a victim of your own brain and the momentum of it. And it feels as though the thoughts are coming thick and fast. You don't realize that they're still coming one at a time. They feel as though they're coming tumbling over each other. But actually they are always just coming one at a time. You can't think more than one thought at a time, which is a very useful thing to know, because that gives you a window of opportunity, really. But the trouble is, at the time you're thinking it all and you're in that rabbit hole and all that momentum is rushing you forward, it's very, very difficult to stand back, and you get swept into believing all these thoughts, which can get crazier and crazier. And I know from my own experience, really dangerous, actually, really life-threatening for me personally. I was that person who was really not well at all, and it's really a miracle that I'm here still on this planet. My self-violence was very evident and powerful and terrifying. I had no option but to start to discover what on earth was going on inside me. And it was a very important thing that I turned from externally focusing to internally focusing, and started to try and decipher the situation that was actually going on in my head. And I think that when you start to look at yourself, you do a very powerful thing. Instead of letting your brain think and think and think and believe all those thoughts, you turn your focus and you change your attitude to yourself, and you think, oh, I'm doing this is what's happening, and you sort of step outside and you witness the fact that you are thinking racing thoughts and stuff. It's when you do that, it's a very powerful shift. You've gone from thinking the thoughts to observing yourself thinking the thoughts. And I'd say that is really the moment when you get some control and some and some healing comes in. Because at that point, you're standing there looking at yourself, witnessing yourself. And it's important to realize that you can then take those thoughts one at a time. I heard somebody say thoughts are like children clamoring in a playground. You know, they all want to be heard at once, and they all feel so important, and they're all so needy. And that really resonated with me, because that's exactly what my brain felt like. You know, a bunch of upset children in a playground shouting at me for attention, really. And that is actually what's happening, because you are coming from probably a trauma or many traumas in your life, and you're really needy, and you really need attention. I'm afraid the only person who's going to give you attention is you. Well, that was in my case how it was. And so I had to learn how to do this for myself. So the momentum stops at that point when you step outside yourself and you look and you say, oh, I'm in a rabbit hole. I'd say the best thing to do then is get a piece of paper and a pencil and write down just one of the thoughts that you're having, and look at it and think about it and see if you can reverse it. So use some different words in it. So say you're saying to yourself, I'm such a disappointment to my children. Maybe you're saying that. I don't know what you're saying, but that's certainly one thought that I've had. So I can use that thought. And you turn that thought. You say, okay, let's incrementally change that thought so that it just starts to feel a little bit better. Because that's pretty much the worst thought you can ever have as a parent, that you're disappointing your children. It's a horrible thought. So change it. So you could perhaps say, I am disappointing myself. And that maybe feels a little bit better. And then maybe you can say, I'm actually not doing that badly. You could say that, you know? And then maybe you can say, actually, you know what? I'm doing all right today. I'm standing here. I'm wearing clothes. I've just had a drink of water. You know, just start to be really serious, like, and just stop the madness that's going on in your head. This is certainly one way I did it. And it stopped, you know, it took ages to really stop, because I had to do this multiple times, you know, because of the momentum. And this is the other thing about the way the brain works. These rabbit holes get faster and faster and faster, and to reverse backwards out of them is very, very difficult, but you have to do it. And you do it by looking at the fact that you're in a rabbit hole and changing the thoughts you're having, trying to just shift them slightly. And you get to a point where you can start to create new rabbit holes. So there's nothing wrong with rabbit holes. That's just the way the brain works, especially if they're positive rabbit holes. And this is something I didn't realize before, but now I've taught myself how to do this and create my own rabbit holes. Now, it's much easier to do this early in the day, because later in the day, the momentum of the day is strong, you know, and you've been through lots of different things and you've had lots of different thoughts, after you've woken up from a sleep, even if it's just a little nap, you're in a much better place to start afresh. And I have to do this every 24 hours. I'm really deliberate about this because I really wasn't okay for so long. I do it every 24 hours as a habit. I purposefully think wonderful thoughts. I wake up in the morning and I think, oh my gosh, a whole nother day. This is a fresh day. This is a new day. This is a new opportunity. This is a new chance. And here I am feeling all right. I just had a little nap. I just had a sleep. Maybe it wasn't a brilliant sleep. You know, I'm just guessing. Maybe you didn't sleep brilliantly. Maybe you only slept half an hour. But you've got to realize that unless you start to deliberately speak to yourself in the right way and the positive way, you're going to be so easily falling down